The galaxy had seen wars before, billions dead, empires rising and falling like tides. But nothing prepared them for the transmission that echoed across the stars one fateful night. A simple phrase, broadcast in dozens of alien dialects, accompanied by a voice that chilled even the most battle-hardened generals. Congratulations. You've just declared war on humanity. The Council of the Vayner Dominion, an empire spanning 3 arms of the spiral galaxy, laughed at first. The Archon King Veter, his chitinous mandibles clicking with amusement, dismissed the message as a bluff. Humanity, a species confined to a backwater world, only recently stepping beyond its own solar system. They were gnats compared to the Dominion's trillion-strong fleet. And yet, a whisper traveled among the council chamber, a whisper carried by the old archivists: the humans smile when war is declared. They always smile. The Dominion ignored the superstition and mobilized. Meanwhile, far away on Earth, in a hidden bunker beneath Colorado Springs, the message was received with grim faces. Screens flickered, showing alien fleets assembling at the borders of known space. The President of the United States, a digital recreation of Abraham Lincoln's calm determination merged with Theodore Roosevelt's fiery resolve, addressed the shadowy chamber of the Terran Defense Council. Behind him sat iconic figures resurrected through advanced simulations and genetics: George Washington, his voice carrying the weight of leadership; Dwight D. Eisenhower, calm military precision in his tone; and Neil Armstrong, chosen not for war but for inspiration, his quiet words a reminder of humanity's endless climb toward the stars. They were not ghosts. They were symbols. Living avatars of Earth's legacy, crafted so every soldier and civilian could look upon their leaders and know, we have faced impossible odds before. As the Dominion fleets moved, humanity's response was eerie silence. The alien armadas expected panic, diplomacy, surrender, anything but stillness. And then came the first sign that something was wrong. The Dominion's scouting ship, the Zareth Prime, slipped past the border into Sol. It expected to find Earth's skies cluttered with primitive satellites, perhaps a handful of frigates. Instead, it found nothing. The planet was dark, shielded. No signals escaped, no defenses fired. Earth seemed to have vanished into silence. The alien commander ordered a scan. What they saw was impossible. Beneath Earth's surface, buried within the mantle, slumbered titanic machines, city-sized weapons wrapped in cloaking fields. Human warships, far larger and more terrifying than anything the Dominion had imagined, waited in silence. The ships did not react. They only powered up their engines slowly, like beasts stretching after a long sleep. In orbit of Mars, a single dreadnought appeared. Its hull bore no insignia, no flag, only words carved into the black steel. "We smile in the dark." The aliens fled. But their transmission had already been recorded, and across the galaxy, whispers grew louder. Humanity had been preparing for this war for 3,000 years. The Dominion had declared war on the galaxy's deadliest species. The Vayner Dominion did not retreat. Their pride was older than their empire, older than their species. To back down against prey would be unthinkable. And so the 7th Armada, 100 dreadnoughts strong, advanced toward Earth's solar system. Their confidence shattered when they crossed Jupiter's orbit. The gas giant flared, storms parting unnaturally. From its shadow, hidden within the swirling red clouds, rose 12 human war machines, colossal ships forged of obsidian steel. They were angular, sharp, radiating a dreadful symmetry that no natural civilization would design. The lead ship spoke. Not with static, not with alien code, but with a voice that carried in every tongue across the Dominion's comms. It was calm, American, resolute. "This is General George S. Patton. You have trespassed in human space. Leave, or be destroyed." The alien admiral laughed, until Patton's ship moved. It didn't glide like Dominion vessels. It lunged. One moment, it floated calmly. The next, it blurred forward at impossible velocity, carving through the nearest dreadnought like a knife through paper. The alien crew didn't even have time to scream before their ship split apart, igniting Jupiter's horizon with an artificial sunrise. The other 11 human warships moved as one. No hesitation. No wasted shots. They tore through the Dominion's fleet with surgical precision. Beams of white-hot energy sheared through hulls. Missiles, silent and nearly invisible, struck with mathematical timing, detonating in synchronized waves. It wasn't war. It was slaughter. The aliens expected chaos, the flailing of a young race desperate to survive. Instead, what they witnessed was discipline. Humanity fought not like a new empire, but like a predator that had studied war for ages. In the command deck of the flagship Iron Resolve, another familiar figure stood. His broad shoulders and steady eyes belonged to Dwight D. Eisenhower, whose calm orders ensured every strike landed with merciless efficiency. Beside him flickered the tactical projections of Normandy, Midway, and countless battles from Earth's past. Records replayed not for nostalgia, but as tactical overlays, guiding every move with centuries of hard-earned experience. Yet the most chilling presence of all was Captain America's holographic banner, projected across the battlefield. It was not a man, it was a symbol. His shield glowed, spinning slowly, and the voice of Steve Rogers, artificially resurrected, but real enough to inspire, echoed across the comms. Soldiers of humanity, remember this, they fear us not because of our weapons. They fear us because we never stop. Stand your ground. The Dominion panicked. Their ships broke formation, scattering like insects. The humans did not pursue. Instead, they let the survivors flee, deliberately. Eisenhower's reasoning was chillingly simple. Let them run. Let them scream to their leaders. Fear will do half our work for us. Back on Earth, the bunker beneath Colorado shook as the survivors' transmissions played. Alien screams filled the chamber, describing black ships, resurrected leaders, and impossible weapons. The Council of Humanity remained silent. Finally, Abraham Lincoln spoke, his voice grave. The galaxy does not yet understand what they have done. They will. And when they do, they will curse the day they declared war on man. And far across the stars, in the heart of the Dominion, the Archon King awoke from uneasy dreams. For the first time in his reign, he felt something alien to his kind. He felt fear. The Dominion's retreat was not silent. As the shattered remnants of their fleet limped toward the void, human warships let them escape intentionally, leaving trails of panic across the comm net. What they didn't know was that every fleeing ship had already been infected with human code, digital parasites that spread like a virus through their networks. It began subtly. Navigation systems glitched. Power grids flickered. But then, Dominion soldiers began hearing things. Voices. Human voices. Whispers of Eisenhower giving calm orders in their own tongue. Patton's growl promising retribution. Lincoln's somber tone weaving through their dreams. They weren't just losing ships, they were losing sanity. Above the ruins near Jupiter, humanity's war machines didn't celebrate. They prepared. Hulls shifted, reconfiguring into new shapes. Weapons folded in and new ones emerged, like predators changing their camouflage. It was as if the ships themselves were alive, evolving in real time to face whatever came next. Inside the Iron Resolve, Eisenhower stood before a holographic display of the solar system. They'll be back, he said simply. And next time, they'll bring the weight of their empire. Patton leaned on the table, his eyes cold fire. Good. Then we won't have to hunt them down one by one. From the far corner of the chamber, shadows stirred. A figure in a long coat stepped forward, Theodore Roosevelt. His mustache curled in a grim smile. Speak softly, gentlemen, but now, we carry a very big stick. He rested his hand on the console, where the schematics of Earth's newest horror unfolded, a weapon designed not for victory, but for extinction. Meanwhile, aboard the retreating Dominion flagship, panic spread. Their admiral, his frilled tendrils trembling, demanded updates. His officers stammered incoherently, showing corrupted screens filled with Earth's battle hymns. The image of a human soldier standing against a backdrop of burning cities played over and over, impossible to erase. The admiral finally screamed, "Shut it off! Shut it off!" But the systems did not obey. Instead, a single phrase burned into every display, etched in alien runes, but unmistakably human in tone. "We are coming." And in the silence that followed, the Dominion realized they had not merely provoked a primitive world. They had awakened something older, darker, and far more ruthless than anything their empire had ever faced. Earth wasn't defending itself. Earth was preparing to invade. The Dominion did not wait long before rallying. Reinforcements surged across the stars, armadas forged in the heart of dying suns, mercenaries drawn from 100 conquered worlds, Leviathan-class warships whose shadows blotted out moons. The message was clear: Earth had not just picked a fight, it had declared war on the galaxy itself. But humanity's silence was worse than any war cry. No transmissions. No diplomacy. Just a quiet, calculated calm. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, hidden bunkers pulsed with energy. The old NORAD command center had been repurposed into something far more terrifying, the Crucible. It was here that Earth's deadliest experiments were being prepared. Rows of pods lined the cavern, each housing soldiers enhanced beyond recognition. Bones reinforced with carbon lattices. Blood infused with nanite swarms. Eyes glowing faintly with borrowed starlight. In one chamber, Abraham Lincoln stood over the awakening of the first wave. His tall frame cast long shadows across the steel walls. "A house divided cannot stand," he intoned, voice heavy with sorrow. "But united, united, we shall break the stars themselves." The soldiers saluted him, their movements sharp, their breaths eerily synchronized. They weren't merely human anymore. They were something new, something built to hunt gods. Meanwhile, out past Neptune, the Dominion fleet arrived in force. 100 warships, then 200, then 1,000, their firepower enough to glass entire planets. But waiting for them was not an Earth fleet, it was one ship. The USS Resolute, blacker than the void itself, floated silently, its hull humming with restrained power. Inside, General George S. Patton paced like a caged beast. "Let them come," he snarled, slamming his fist into his palm. "They'll think they're storming a beach. But boys, we are the storm." As the Dominion Armada closed in, the Resolute came alive. Panels unfolded to reveal weapons no alien intelligence had ever catalogued. Massive energy lances charged, their tips glowing like miniature suns. Swarms of autonomous drones poured from hidden bays. Darting like hornets hungry for blood. The Dominion opened fire. Space itself lit up with plasma storms and kinetic slugs the size of skyscrapers. But the Resolute moved. Not like a ship, but like a predator, weaving through destruction, counterstriking with surgical precision. Entire cruisers vanished in explosions that rippled through enemy formations. In the chaos, the Dominion admiral barked orders, desperate to regain control. Yet their ships, systems faltered, plagued by the same whispers infecting their networks. Human voices grew louder, overlapping, Eisenhower's steady calm, Roosevelt's fierce challenge, Patton's snarling threats. Then, as the battle reached its fever pitch, the stars themselves seemed to bend. From behind Neptune, hidden by gravitational shadows, Earth revealed its true horror. Not one ship, not one fleet, but an armada, forged in silence. Thousands of war machines, each carrying the wrath of humanity, their engines burning with a fire the galaxy had never seen. And over the comm net, a final voice cut through the storm, clear, unwavering, terrifying. "We warned you. Now we come as one." The Dominion realized too late, the first battles had been tests. The real war was only beginning. The galaxy burned. Word of humanity's retaliation spread like wildfire across conquered worlds. Civilizations that had knelt before the Dominion for millennia suddenly whispered of hope and terror. The humans were not liberators. They were predators, and the Dominion had unleashed them. On the battlefield above Saturn, the Dominion's second wave arrived. Colossal bioships, living creatures engineered for war, each the size of a continent. Their tendrils stretched like forests of knives, their bellies glowing with reactors stolen from enslaved suns. They screeched through the void, a sound that carried across comms as if space itself recoiled. Against them, Earth deployed its newest abominations. From the dark side of Saturn's rings, warforms emerged, ships fused with machine intelligence, piloted by humans whose minds had been merged with entire fleets. They moved like thought itself, faster than probability should allow. Inside one, Theodore Roosevelt stood at the heart of a neural nexus, his essence woven into the warform's systems. His voice thundered across the link shared with thousands of soldiers. "The credit belongs to the man in the arena, bloodied, scarred, unbroken. And men, today, the arena is the stars themselves." The warform answered his words with fire. Energy beams sliced through bioships like surgical blades. Nuclear fire bloomed across alien hulls, the blast shaped to consume without warning. Entire swarms of drones detonated within enemy flesh, burning tunnels through living warcraft until they collapsed in spasms of fire. But the Dominion had prepared horrors of their own. From the depths of hyperspace, they unleashed the Oblivion Engine, a weapon said to erase not just life, but the concept of life from the battlefield. Where its beams struck, stars dimmed. Rings of Saturn turned to ash. Even human warforms faltered under its glow. In the command nexus on Earth, Eisenhower watched the data unfold with grim clarity. "They mean to end us absolutely," he said, calm even as worlds screamed in ruin. Patton snarled in return. "Then we don't hold the line. We break it. No mercy. No surrender." At his signal, the USS Resolute descended once more, this time not as a ship but as a weapon. Its core cracked open, revealing the secret humanity had hidden since first contact, the abyssal drive. A black sphere pulsed at its center, devouring light, bending reality around it. The Dominion admiral gasped as his instruments failed, his ships dragged like toys toward the growing singularity. And then they saw, humans weren't merely wielding weapons. They had learned to wield cosmic laws themselves. The battlefield became a nightmare of collapsing dimensions and twisted time. Bio-ships aged into dust in seconds. War machines flickered through positions, appearing inside enemy hulls before tearing them apart. Yet even as victory loomed, the humans did not smile. Their visages were cold, silent, unreadable. Because they knew, this was only the middle of the war. The Dominion had deeper weapons still. And every alien race watching from the shadows now realized a truth far worse than the Dominion itself. If humanity could do this after 3,000 years of peace, what horrors could they unleash after 3,000 years of war? But the terror was not only felt in space. On worlds light years away, Dominion governors began to vanish. Entire palaces were found empty, their guards slaughtered in silence. Survivors whispered of phantoms, figures with human eyes that bled through walls and shadows. Earth had unleashed assassins, enhanced operatives who moved faster than light, bending space around their bodies. A Dominion senator, trembling in his bunker, received a final message carved into the steel of his own walls. 3 words, jagged and burned into the alloy. "We are here." At the same time, Roosevelt's warform sent a final surge of fire into the bio-ships, tearing the last monstrosities apart. The battlefield fell quiet, save for the echoes of dying leviathans. And then Earth broadcast a single signal, one every race could hear, a transmission of human children singing an ancient war hymn, their voices steady and chilling. It wasn't a threat. It was a promise. The Dominion realized, with dread, that humanity had no intention of ending this war quickly. They were stretching it, shaping it, feeding it. Because for humans, war was home. Beneath the shattering glow of Saturn's ruins, humanity's engines of war pressed further. The abyssal drive continued to warp the void, dragging wreckage and living ships alike into its ravenous hunger. What the Dominion thought would terrify humans had instead been mastered by them, reshaped into a weapon no galactic civilization dared even imagine. The Dominion scrambled to counter. Their scientists, bred across centuries to dissect and conquer alien technologies, turned frantic. They tried deploying antimatter fields, gravity anchors, even living reactors designed to stabilize space-time itself. None of it worked. Every solution fell apart in minutes, consumed by the same black tide that bent the rules of reality. Yet still, the humans pushed further. Their fleets were not limited to firepower. They unleashed psychological warfare woven into every frequency, every particle wave. Alien crews heard their ship alarms scream with human laughter. Hulls vibrated with whispers, words that had no translation but filled alien hearts with primal fear. Some Dominion captains detonated their own cores rather than endure the invisible siege of human voices gnawing at their minds. On Earth, laboratories beneath the Andes awoke new horrors. From vast tanks emerged chimeric war beasts, hybrids of human design and captured Dominion flesh. Towering monsters clad in bio-armor howled into the void, ready to be unleashed on alien worlds. These creatures carried within them the memories of entire human cities, every scream, every loss, every triumph, burning as fuel for endless slaughter. And yet, even as victory stacked higher, humanity showed no mercy, no joy, not even triumph. Their silence was worse than any roar. Soldiers in the neural fleets acted like extensions of one body, their humanity still present but buried beneath cold efficiency. Even the great figures, Lincoln, Eisenhower, Roosevelt, Patton, moved with an inevitability that terrified both ally and enemy. They were not men anymore. They were the voices of history, given steel and fire. The Dominion's admiral watched his fleet dwindle, horror choking his command. His advisors begged for retreat, for surrender. But retreat was no longer survival, because Earth was no longer content with defense. Their ships formed into a spearhead, drives burning brighter than stars, carving a path straight toward the Dominion's home worlds. Across the galaxy, hidden watchers trembled. Other empires, long silent, debated in shadow. Some wondered if they should aid the Dominion. Others whispered of fleeing beyond charted space. But all agreed on one truth: humanity had revealed itself not as a species to bargain with, but as a force of nature. And forces of nature were not negotiated with. They were endured, or they consumed you whole. The war entered its final act not with silence, but with a scream that carried across the stars. The Dominion, beaten back from Saturn, shattered at Neptune, and hunted across the void, had gathered their greatest defense, the throneworld of Vaynor, the jewel of their empire. For millennia it had stood unassailable, a fortress built within the shell of a hollowed star, protected by fleets beyond number and weapons that bent the laws of physics. To challenge it was suicide. To even approach it was legend. And yet, humans came anyway. The armada of Earth arrived in the system like a storm, dark shapes blotting out the heavens, their drives pulsing with impossible energy. They did not send diplomats. They did not send warnings. They only sent fire. The first human strike was surgical. Drone swarms the size of continents slipped past the Dominion's defenses, burrowing into planetary shields, consuming reactors, igniting chain reactions that turned defense platforms into burning halos. The second strike was psychological. Across every Dominion channel, broadcasts of humanity's history played, wars fought, tyrants broken, worlds remade in blood and fire. The message was unmistakable: we have always lived in war, and we have always survived it. On the bridge of the Dominion throne ship, their emperor trembled. He demanded to know why humans fought with such fury, why they smiled coldly at annihilation. The answer came not from comms, but from within their very systems. Their command displays cracked, flickered, and revealed the figure of Abraham Lincoln, his face calm, eyes burning with endless resolve. A nation divided can fall, he said. But a people united can never be conquered. And we, the human race, are united in war. The emperor howled, but his scream was drowned by the roar of the abyssal drive. The USS Resolute led the charge, plunging through defense lines that had never been breached. Behind it, warforms piloted by Roosevelt and Patton tore apart Leviathan-class ships, their voices carried through the comm net like ancient gods returning to punish the wicked. Eisenhower's calm orders guided fleets into impossible maneuvers, turning chaos into harmony, destruction into precision. The Dominion unleashed their final weapon, a star forge, capable of birthing novas on command. Its power dwarfed even the abyssal drive. But humanity did not flinch. Instead, they unleashed what they had saved for this very moment, Project Prometheus. The sky split open as humans tore down the laws of nature themselves. Where the Dominion sought to summon novas, the humans summoned something worse, a black star, an engine of gravity so intense it consumed the forge whole. The Emperor's final weapon became his tomb. When the fires cleared, the Dominion fleet was gone. Their throne world cracked apart, burning in silence. And through the void drifted the human fleet, black and unbroken. But there was no celebration, no cheers, no songs of victory. The humans stood in silence, their visages cold, their war machines still humming with restrained power. Because they knew the truth, this was not the end. This was the beginning. The galaxy had seen humanity's wrath, and every empire, every kingdom, every race would now look upon Earth with terror, and with fear came preemptive war. Patton's voice carried across the human fleet, gravel and fury wrapped in steel: the Dominion is finished. But remember this, men, the galaxy is watching. And when they come for us, and they will, we'll be ready. And so it was written. The 3,000-year armistice had ended not with peace shattered, but with the galaxy itself set aflame. Humanity did not merely survive. They smiled coldly, sharpened their blades, and marched into a future of endless war. Because war was not humanity's curse. It was their home.